The Great Pie Contest. Created and told by Enliven Academy. In the little town of Munchville, there was a famous event every year called the Great Pie Contest. It was the most exciting day of the year, where bakers from all around the town would compete to make the tastiest, most delicious pie. And at the center of it all was the town's greatest pie maker, Mrs. Poppyseed. Mrs. Poppyseed had been the champion pie maker for 15 years in a row. No one could top her pies. They were crispy on the outside, soft on the inside, and always had the perfect balance of sweetness and spice. Every year, the people of Munchville lined up just to get a slice of her famous pies. The competition was tough, but nobody could beat her, until this year. This year, a new challenger arrived, Mr. Grumblebottom. Mr. Grumblebottom wasn't exactly known for his baking skills, but he was very good at complaining. He'd been grumbling about Mrs. Poppyseed's pies for years, claiming, "They're too sweet. They're too fluffy. They're not even real pies. I'm going to make the greatest pie the world has ever seen," he declared dramatically, twirling his apron around like a cape. The day of the contest arrived, and the air in Munchville was filled with the delicious smells of baking pies. Mrs. Poppyseed was confident as she set her pie in the center of the contest table, surrounded by her loyal fans who cheered her on. But Mr. Grumblebottom had other plans. He brought in his pie, which looked, well, a little strange. It was lumpy, uneven, and the crust seemed to be sagging in a very suspicious way. It had a funny smell too, not quite sweet, not quite savory, just weird. The judges, who were all serious pie enthusiasts, gathered around, and each one took a bite of Mrs. Poppyseed's perfect pie. "Delicious," they said. "Fluffy, sweet, and just the right amount of cinnamon." Then they turned to Mr. Grumblebottom's pie. One judge bravely took a bite, and then paused, blinking rapidly. The judge said, trying to keep his composure. "It's, unique." "What's in it?" That's the secret," Mr. Grumblebottom said proudly. "My pie is made of beef, broccoli, pickles, and, wait for it, cabbage." The judges looked at each other, trying to hide their confusion. They took another bite, and their faces scrunched up in surprise. "It's definitely a bold choice," one of them said. Meanwhile, the townspeople were starting to gather around, drawn by the mysterious pie. Mrs. Poppyseed's fans were still happily eating their slices of sweet, perfect pie, but they couldn't help but giggle at Mr. Grumblebottom's concoction. "What do you think of my cabbage surprise?" Mr. Grumblebottom asked, holding up his pie with a smile that seemed a little too proud. "I think it's a surprise, all right," one of the children said, wiping a little cabbage from her chin. The pie was so strange that even the usually serious judges couldn't stop giggling. One by one, they gave their feedback. "Well, it's definitely not boring," said one judge. "I think I'll stick with Mrs. Poppyseed's pie," said another, who was still wiping tears of laughter from his eyes. In the end, it was no surprise that Mrs. Poppyseed won the Great Pie Contest once again. Her pies were perfect, light, and delicious, while Mr. Grumblebottom's pie became the talk of the town, not for its flavor, but for its interesting choice of ingredients. From that day forward, Mr. Grumblebottom gave up his pie-making dreams, and he started making the best pies in the town, not for contests, but for fun. And every year, when the Great Pie Contest came around, he'd bring his cabbage surprise pie just for the laughs. And so, Munchville lived happily ever after, with lots of pies, lots of laughs, and a reminder that sometimes the best pies are the ones that make you smile, whether they're perfect or a little bit weird. Thank you for reading. Please subscribe.